go. It's Nathan in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the hurricane that won't go away. It just keeps coming and coming and coming today. I cannot fucking stay away from hurricanes. I'm like a freaking magnet, guys. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, welcome to the Weather Channel, everybody.
Yeah, Gary the Weather Boy, huh? This is fucking awesome. Hey, we have to get our Rumble sorted out, my man. I don't know why that never boards up, but
No,
welcome
it works.
everyone.
Oh, is it showing you on your screen that it still doesn't work? No, it works though. It's been
uploaded. It literally shows a little sign that says Sam fucked up. Sam fucked up. No, just my kids were just hammering me earlier. They're like, man, you're in a ratty mood. And I'm like, well, I've been moving boats all morning without y'all's help. Thank you very much.
Trying to save your life potentially.
Yeah. And then I get a 15-year-old telling me, Dad, we should leave. Oh, really? Well, you have so much life experience. I wanted to reach in the back. Yeah, just, I think her mom put some little words in her mouth. We got a big Bitcoin move. I'm sitting here bitching about having to move boats. We got a nice move too. Strong. Y'all want to talk about the hurricane first? You want to talk about hurricane Bitcoin?
Talk about hurricane first.
Oh. I was going to say talk about Bitcoin first because I didn't know about the move and I'm looking to buy soon. I want to buy before the hurricane hits.
Oh, dude. You and me both. Chris, why don't you take over and show us what the heck's going on, dude? I think Bitcoin's had a good move over the weekend. It didn't get suppressed. The whole complex seems to be moving. What you got, man? You think this is real, or is this the post-halving move that everyone's been waiting for 3.5 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what it is. We're about 6 months post-halving. That's usually when we get the move up. The only thing different was that we got what do you call it there? The all-time high before right before the halving. But other than that, everything's just kind of been moving the way we usually look for it to move when it happens. So, I mean, it's hard to be. It's really just hard to be bearish on it. I know a lot of people want to be, but again, as we always talk about, the longer it goes sideways, the more likely, the more likely, retail traders in general are going to question what they're doing, right? Everybody was really, really bullish up here. And then we started doing this. And they were still bullish. Then we did this. They started getting worried. And then they start, you get out, you get months in, and they're like, wait a minute, it's never going to go back up, right? And you got everybody calling, cycle top is in and all this other nonsense. And so if you're a new market participant, you don't have years of experience, you don't have multiple cycles, you haven't been through different, markets, and seeing how these things play out, it's easy to get convinced that, oh my God, that was the top and I screwed up again. I didn't take profit.
But Chris, if I look at this chart that you've put up here on the screen, you guys can see this, correct?
Yeah.
This doesn't, and I'm not a chartist and I'm not a short-term trader, but I look at this and go, well, this doesn't look positive. This looks like it's sloping downward. We're getting lower highs and we're getting higher. Are we getting higher lows or lower lows? We're getting lower lows.
Still lower lows so far. Yeah. Now we've got higher. We've got these higher highs and higher lows off that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm asking for the audience. Hey, how do you rationalize? Because I just look at this and go, hey, we have a downward sloping trend. That looks like a trend. Why would I get in here right now?
Yeah. So, the easy answer to that is, if you want to decrease your risk a lot, you don't yet. You wait for price to break out above the last lower high here. Okay. So this was the last lower high coming off this all-time high. This was the last lower low.
That's 64.1.
This one up here? Oh, this is about 70,000, 71,000.
Okay.
Up here.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just in between that last lower high and that last lower low. So in answer to your question, and the thing that most people don't want to hear is you don't get in yet. You wait for the breakout above that last lower high, and then you've broken that bearish market structure off the top, and then you've got this bullish market structure up off the low here with a low, a high, a higher low, higher high, potential higher low here. setting up to, to continue that reversal, right? But here's the thing.
So what you're
If you're
saying
waiting
is
for
that, hey, Chris, so what you're saying that prior to, what is that, August the 11th, yes, you agree. Hey, we were getting lower lows. What you're saying now is, hey, you know what? We stopped now. We saw this downward wick on August the 11th, and now we're starting to print higher lows. Is that what you're saying?
Well, since the low, but the structure off that all-time high, we still have to get above that that last higher low up here to break that structure off the all-time high. But so far up off the low, we do have lower or higher lows and higher highs. But here's the thing. So yeah, you would wait for that. Yeah, 70, 71,000, depending on what chart you're looking at, what exchange you're on. But the problem with that is that you missed that potential rally from 49,000, anywhere from 49,000 up to 71,000, right? So you have to figure out, okay, well, how else can I figure out that maybe that low may be in, that maybe there may be something different going on? And so that's what we use, two different things. We can use Elliott Wave, which is just basically it's a measure of human psychology, because humans tend to act in a specific way, right? If you have, everything else aside, everything else normalized, right? It's hard to say what's normal nowadays, but generally speaking, our emotional level kind of just stays at this level, right? And if we, again, if we win, I don't know, if you play scratch offs and you win $1,000 on a scratch off ticket or the lottery or something, you get this boost up higher. So, where you're going straight, it goes up higher, but it comes back eventually, right? It doesn't stay elevated forever. Something sad happens, a good friend, a parent, a relative passes away or something, it's going to come down, but it doesn't stay down forever. Everything else held equal, it'll come back up to that average. And so what Elliott Wave does is it kind of lets us know, listen, people act in a certain way, and this can be measured. And so we can use that. And so if we use that, that's what the count is on here. It says, okay, well, WXY correction, wave four generally pulls back 38.2%. You can see right here that we just stopped just above that. So, we're at that initial wave 4 target. We've got a clear WXY correction. So you can use that as one thing. Another thing we look at is Wyckoff. And Wyckoff is this study of how retail and professionals trade ranges, right? And so when we look at that, we go, okay, well, we look at this. This is still a range here. And we look at specific areas of price action and the volume associated with them. And then we test those against other areas that we need to test them against. And so what do we notice? Well, we notice that as we're doing this down here, you can see that volume drops off all the way down here. And then what happens? We have a sudden spike of volume down here as we broke the low. Now, it's not like we didn't have like this right here where you have this kind of gradual increase here. We had a sudden spike, and this is the key. So we have a range here where we're not really getting a whole lot of participation from the market. The market's just kind of like, whatever. We're not trying to push it down. And we see that with that volume kind of dropping off throughout this range. And when they got the chance, when they finally shoved it down, it gets caught not very much further. I mean, you're looking at 53,500. It only went to 49,000. Very small move down, but a huge bit of volume. There's only 2 points of volume since the 2022 bear market low where volume's actually been higher. The first one was this one right here. This daily, which was this pull down and move back up. And the other one, bigger than that, was right prior to the swing low for the bear market swing low here. So what I'm trying to say is it's a significant amount of volume that came in, and it really didn't go anywhere. There was no strong follow through. That was the chance the market had to jump in there and go with it, and the market didn't go with it. So when we're looking at this via Wyckoff, what we say is, this is what we would call a spring, which is a wick below the range support, closes back up. Now, when you have this strong bit of volume like this on this spring, which is a lot stronger than any of these other lows here, especially at the beginning, you're going to have what we call a test. And that's just going to be a higher low pullback. And you want that to be on lesser volume. And the lesser the volume than what you had here, the better that pullback is. So here's that pullback. And you can see we go from volume right here on the daily of 85.226 on this chart to 27.609. So basically a third of the volume on that pullback. That's a successful test.
Yeah.
So for all intents and purposes, it does appear that the low was here. And if you didn't grab this, you could have grabbed this retest here, this test of the spring, to head that back up. And what that does is understanding this, it allows you to get in at these lower areas versus waiting for the structural break way up here. And what does that mean in terms of highs? If you're going to get in down here or over here at 53,000 versus getting in at 71,000, exponentially you're going to get a greater bit of return on your long as you continue going up there. So, again, the answer to your question is, you don't until you break through the higher, the last lower high up here. And that would say, okay, well, a lot of the risk is off the table. We are almost guaranteed to go up higher now. Almost nothing's guaranteed.
But you're giving $10,000 of value away right now.
Oh yeah. Plus, it's almost $20,000 that you're not able to get in lower. So
no, but your lower price right now is 62, 63, right?
Well, I was talking about if you got in here at this 53 area.
Oh, yeah, that's gone.
On that pullback of that test there.
That's gone. So for Sam, who's saying, hey, I want to add, when do I add? He's got a couple of choices. You jump in here. See, I do listen, Sam. You do jump in here, go, okay, look, I think this thing's going to roll, or you wait for a pullback, which doesn't sound like it's coming anytime in the near couple of days, a big pullback into the 49s. I don't see 49 happening again.
No,
I don't see. I think we've tested 59 and it didn't like it. Right.
Yeah,
so Sam's got a tough decision here. See, I ain't waiting for 73. To me, it's like, wow, I'm going to wait for 73. Well, I have been like, once I want to buy something, once I make a decision, price becomes less important to me. But that does not mean that it should be the way everyone does this. I'm trying to buy a different volume than Sam. Yeah. So for Sam, and Sam, now I would say Sam's time horizon is so long, he's probably going to outlive you and me. Picking up 62, 63 here is not going to fucking hammer him. He's not like adding 5x volume that he did prior. He's doing a consistent volume, probably 5 to 10 grand a month, which is absolutely what he should be doing. Yeah. And once you do that, you're like, do I really care? I mean, I should just, for me, I'm personally not waiting for 73.
Yeah.
Like 73 is like, oh, wow. I don't see Sailor waiting for 73. Sailor's stacking every month.
And that goes complete, that's the same thing we've talked about so many times before, which goes into, people have to understand, well, why are they buying? You have a very clear understanding of why you're buying. It's not to get the lowest price. It's to get a specific amount. You're looking to reach a certain amount of Bitcoin. And so you deploy as you deploy, right? If somebody's looking to day trade it or, hold a much shorter time period, well, then, where they get in is going to be, a lot more important. But man, if you're looking years out, the difference between, where we're at here at 63 and 70, I mean, it's a 10% difference. It's really kind of negligible in the grand scheme of things. So this is why I always tell people, listen, when you get in the markets, most people that are newly getting in the markets, they don't understand why they're doing it. They think, oh, it's to make money, but they don't understand what are they doing? Who are they as a trader or an investor? They don't understand. They haven't sat down and figured out what is their current financial situation realistically, what's their current wealth situation. They haven't written any, short, mid, and long-term goals out for either one of those, because you have to do that to figure, okay, well, how should I be approaching the market? Not everybody should be approaching and go, man, I want to day trade. It's not for everybody. And not just with where you are in your plans for the future, but what is your current situation? Do you work? How often do you work? How many days a week do you work? Because I'm going to tell you what, right now, a lot of these guys are getting in there trying to trade while they're at work. And I'll be honest with you, as an employer, I'm like, really? No, do your dang job. That's what you're getting paid for, right? But at the end of the day, it's also really difficult, right? So a lot of people try and trade on their phones. If I could give one piece of advice here, don't trade on your phones. these exchanges and these brokers, everything, they gamify it. They create it so that you become addicted to trading on your phone. It's a game rather than what it should be, which is, the seriousness to your future and what you're trying to do. But these are the big problems that come in. So you shouldn't be trading while you're at work. You need to figure out at what point you're going to be trading during the days, what days of the week you're going to be trading. And, so if you do this correctly, it's a lot of upfront work that a lot of people are just like, I don't want to do all. I just want to get in there and make money. But then they wonder why they lose money because they don't have a clear path. I think Gary can, say that, hey, when you get into business, you don't just go, today, all of a sudden I want to own Node 40. I go, okay, well, what are my plans? Where am I sitting? Where do I want to get? How does that help me get here? How do I approach it in doing that? And I think that's such a big part that so many people miss when they're getting involved in markets because they think it's all just this simple, just going to throw some money into it and, life's going to be great. And, usually ends up the other way and then they wonder why. And that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I think normally I just go ahead and I just buy regardless of the price. But, I get nervous because the longer I see that sideways action, kind of to y'all's point, I'm like, okay, do I really want to risk waiting for a pullback of 5-10 grand when it could moon? You know what I mean? And I don't know how possible that is, right? Or what, the price jump looks like once it comes out of consolidation, right? Like, does that go to 70, 80, 90?
So my initial thought is that we're going to get a rally up to around 69, 70,000 and then a pullback. I think if we can do that, I think we should get a pullback then to around 60 and a half, 61,000. And then we get the big push through because it's been that resistance has been there for so long. Usually what happens in the case of, these ranges is you'll get a rally up toward the resistance of that range, and then you get a pullback and then you'll break out higher. So when we look at pivots, the daily R1 pivot sits up there around that 69,150 area on the chart I had. And that would give us potentially a leading diagonal, 5 waves up. And so then we get a 3-wave pullback to the 60,850 area, which is the daily pivot. So you get kind of like this move up here and then a move back here. And then you get the big breakout. And I mean, now it doesn't have to happen like that, but that right now, that's the way I'm playing it.
And a big breakout means what? I mean, is that quantifiable? Is that like, though, you go to 100K or something? Like, how do you quantify the big breakout? Or
yeah. So you're going up through 80,000. You're going to continue up to maybe 85,000. Get a little bit of a pullback. Continue up higher. Through 100,000. My idea right now, I haven't decided yet which way I think this is probably going to go, but the one of the two ways it'll go is it'll either hit that 100,000 area and pull back, and then break out through it, kind of like what I'm talking about is potentially doing here with the resistance. You'll hit 100K, you'll pull back, and then you'll break out through it. Or my preferred scenario would be an impulsive breakout through 100K, pull back and retest it as support, and then head up higher. In which case you can look for quite a significant move up overall by the end of this cycle. So when we're talking about the breakout here, we come up to 1, we pull back for 2. That wave 3 breakout should carry this well into 80,000. Just off the initial push through that 74,000 area.
See, that's why I think I'm just going to go ahead and buy. So just like there's no right or wrong, and by the time I figure it out, 100K.
Well, here's the way to think about it. Look, so we're sitting here at what, 63.7. So if we do rally up to that R1, that 69,000 change, and pull back to basically 61,000, and then go. I mean, right now, if you're getting in now, you're basically $2,000 above that. I mean, that's nothing, right? But if we just rally right on through, which it could, right? It could just rally right on through the all-time high and continue going. Well, guess what? You're still in. So, I mean, I think, if you're looking about, should I wait for it to pull back or, should I get in now? I mean, to me, it seems to make more sense, that you get in now because, again, you're only a few $1,000s off that expected pullback. So really, it's negligible if it does it. But if it doesn't do it, if it goes and breaks out instead, you don't miss out on it. You're already in. So that's where, when we're looking at markets, we got to figure out, well, what kind of risk are we willing to take and how are we willing to, position ourselves with that risk? So you're going to, you're probably taking a lot more risk to wait for it to rally up and then pull back, because again, it does not have to do that. I think that's what it's going to do, but no guarantees, of course.
Sounds like my mind's made up, to be honest. Sounds like
Sam, I think personally, I think this is the right way to think about it. We tested 59. That keeps getting tested, and it keeps that 59 came from 58, came from 57, came from 49. We just keep testing it. You have an awful lot of buying coming in here. We have all of Q4 that hasn't even been stated in the S13s or what in the filings for all the funds that are buying, all the venture, the ETFs. I like, to me, this is, we said when the ETFs launched January of last year that it would take 9 months for 60-70% allocation to all the big players. The wirehouses would come in last. Remember, like we literally said, look, it'll be the early venture guys, more aggressive, independent. Then the big names show up. I mean, the only guy that's not in this this business is Vanguard. At this point, you have had who's my favorite one to always talk about? Franklin Templeton. Yeah. Like I think Franklin Templeton, like you're looking at a company that's literally moved from being a very boring player over the last 30 years to out of nowhere 8 years ago, the new CEO, who's a woman, middle-aged woman, who she has completely digested Bitcoin. I mean, she's all in on it. When I see a player like that, and then you see BNY Mellon, and you see the likes of Jamie Dimon and others, they're all taking parts of the entire value chain now.
Yeah.
So let's just review. We got rid of Sam Bankman-Fried. He'll be very, very rich, but he's off the table now. We got rid of BZ or CZ at Binance. We've basically convinced the SEC, convinced Coinbase, Binance, and everybody else, hey, I'm going to see up your skirt anytime I want, every day. So they have full visibility. Wall Street now is controlling at least the paper side of Bitcoin and buying Bitcoin through the ETFs. What do we know about Bitcoin? People that study Bitcoin tend to study it even more after they've done 50 hours, right? Yeah. So what are we seeing from Larry Fink? We're getting validation. Oh, shit. This thing is much bigger than I thought. It is exactly the same experience that everyone goes through with Bitcoin. Yeah. The more you study, the more you're like, whoa, maybe I didn't fully comprehend the implications of this product. We now have Russia saying they've approved mining and acceptance of payment. We have China fucking bowing in. I don't like, you have the Italian government now talking about, because they're completely broke. See, all these countries that are broke, they're going to start looking at this going, we need an option, man.
Yep.
And we need options, and Bitcoin's going to just keep popping up as one of the options. And quite frankly, when you run through the options, it's either war or Bitcoin. Do what NATO says do, or buy some Bitcoin and put it on your balance sheet.
Yeah.
So to me, man, okay, if I'm you, I stick a bid in at 61.8 and I just wait. And I mean, what we do know is that Bitcoin loves to move 7 to 12, 15% in a day. It just does that. So to get another 10% move off of the price you're at right now, which I don't even know, 64, let's call it, that's a $6,000 move, dude. And I don't think you'll see that. I don't think anyone's going to see 59 again. Now, maybe 2 years from now, I don't think you're going to see that either, actually. I build a case that this is going to be the new pivot point with in some bands, 62, 66, which kind of makes sense if you play the whole thing out and go, well, like my brother said the other day, hey, when are we going to get to 75% retracement? I'm going to wait for that. And I'm like, bro, it's already happened. You can't, just because you're entering the market doesn't mean you get to look at it and go, gosh, I'm going to go pick the all-time high, 75% off that high. I want to buy at 35.
Yeah.
But when you walk them through and go, bro, that's gone. You'll have to wait 2.5 years for that to show up again. Most people don't have the patience for that. And if I'm right, all he's going to do is wait 2.5 years to get into Bitcoin to end up probably having about $80,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's significance in the fact we've been sideways basically for 7 months. You know, this sideways builds, once you break out above it, it's built a base. And so, you know, there's significance in the length of time that you spend going sideways and the strength of that base, you know, when you come back to it. So, I mean, you know, if we're rallying up to, I don't know, 150, 180,000, all of a sudden, you know, 50 to 60,000, 70,000 looks like a great place to pull back to.
Yeah.
On that pullback. And
I mean, look, the other way to look at this is if this was a business and it had a, you know, 10 or 15, $20,000 pullback, I look at that business and go, okay, this is the Dollar Shave Club, or this is the $1 store, right? Wow, they've completely penetrated the entire market. I mean, there aren't any more people that can walk into that store. Well, that's not the case with Bitcoin. You look at Bitcoin, you're like, okay, you're at 1.2. This is why I like using market cap, because the price of something is not really, like, our brains can't handle it, because what do we know? We know that there's an infinite amount of things that can be produced in that paper world, right? Even the crude oil world, like crude oil is never going to 150 again. Okay. There's so much oil everywhere. I mean, if you blow up all the Middle East, okay, awesome. Crude oil go to $400, but assuming nobody goes insane, I look at Bitcoin and go, wow, let's see. Now the only buyers are a bunch of goofballs who have literally spent all their money. Then you have the big boys showing up to the game, which they're showing up in such volume, it's irritating the old guys. Right. So, yep. And I'm like, okay, this is not the Dollar Shave Club that have already penetrated the market. There is no penetration here. This is less than 1% of the total addressable market, the TAM. And you look at this, you go, I actually think this is the best time to buy Bitcoin. I might actually say, fucking don't wait for $1,500. Buy the shit now and figure out how to make another $10,000 so you can buy it next week, because this has to end. Once the Wall Street players are 3, 4, 5, and the other piece of news that I don't know what the deal is with Bitcoin. We are the most negative people in the world. Like, the greatest news in the world can come to Bitcoin and they go, oh, this is horrible. You know, oh my God, BlackRock's involved. It's like, oh yeah, we kind of wanted that, didn't we? So I look at this and go, gosh, the other stat we have is that 1 year ago, some of the largest Bitcoin speakers in the world were going, hey, 0.5% allocation would be fucking nirvana. Yep. What do we have now? I know one guy that's at 38%. I know a bank that's suggesting 6 to 8. I haven't yet heard one guy say 0.5%.
Yeah, Bitwise about their recent people that they've been talking to that were allocating 0.5% back, 0.5 to 1% back at the beginning here earlier this year, are now already upping it to 5-6%. So, I mean, I love Bitwise because, man, oh man, they kind of let us know what's going on.
Yeah, they're awesome actually.
Talking to, yeah.
But Chris, is that the right way to look at this? Because this isn't a business, but if you were looking at this as a private equity business or something you own, like a Node 40, you'd be like, wow, there's been no penetration yet.
Yeah,
like not really.
Yeah,
like just as a antidote or whatever they call these analogies. In the last 3 weeks, our volume to Node 40 has probably quadrupled. Like the phone calls now are like, hey man, shit's happening now. We don't know what we're doing. Our accounting's all screwed up. We don't know the numbers. We need real solutions now. People that bought really, really, really cheap solutions, they're now realizing, whoa, this is a very, very serious game. Imagine if people were thinking 0.5% and you got some 6%. No one was expecting that volume. The entire industry is not ready for this, guys. Like, I think it's going faster than anyone really understands. But when you're on the ground and you've been here 12 years, you can get really, really, really impatient. But this is happening now. Like you've literally walking into the world stage and the spotlight's on Bitcoin now for the first time ever in its existence. And it's only 60 grand or $1.2 trillion in size market cap wise.
Well, and you recently spoke with my friends there, Andrew and Tillman over at Arch Public, and they do, Beards and Bitcoin with me on Wednesdays. And Tillman, I'd love to keep sharing this, but I think he's got the best analogy right now. Prior to January, Bitcoin, all its growth was underground, right? It was all the roots and everything, right?
Almost black markety.
Yeah, and then you hit the ETFs in January, and all of a sudden we've got the sprout above that ground level. And so now what you're going to see is the way in which Bitcoin appreciates now, the way in which it becomes, used and the way it approaches everybody out there is different than what it's been all the way up until, this year. And that itself is what you're saying there. When you talk about that significance and difference there with what it's doing now and how it's growing faster and differently and better than what people were even expecting. I think that has a lot to do with it. I think it's a great analogy and really kind of, hits home to where we're at with Bitcoin right now.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. Not sure why my brother's giving us his email address.
Oh, he wanted me to send him a link to the live.
You guys all email Grant and tell him he's awesome. It'll make his day. I wonder if Grant's leaving. I don't even know if he's leaving. But yeah, Grant, we can always have you on.
I sent him a link.
Pop in here, buddy. I think Grant's finding these video things quite interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
Sam, Chris, what about the alt market, man? What's going on in the alt market? Are you seeing support there? Grant, try not to mess this up, okay? We're going to let Chris do this deal. I don't know if you guys have met each other, but introduce you guys later. The alt market and also crude, silver, and gold, man.
Yeah, so I guess let me go ahead and start off with what I've got here real quick. Pulled up here. See, we got gold. Let's talk about gold real quick. I know you like to talk about gold. On gold there, we've got what looks like maybe a triangle printing here. I've had this target up here around 27.42 or so for a while. And so just looking for a breakout of this triangle to get us up there. But if we do happen to break down instead, it just means there's not a triangle here. It's 3 waves down. We'll look for it to target this pivot here on the daily around 26.23. And then we'll look for a rally up toward that 27.4190, 27.42 area. So, I think gold still got some further up here. And of course, this would just be a wave 3. So then once we got up there, we get a wave 4 on the pullback and then a wave 5 up higher. I've still got a target up here of around 3,053 for right now when it comes to gold here. So I think, gold overall still has higher highs coming in with it.
How far?
As far as
over the next 12 months, how far do you think gold rolls?
Oh, I'm terrible with timing. But I do think, again, I think we get the move up beyond this 27.42 area. Over the next 12 months, we could potentially see it getting up there toward that 3,050 area.
Wow.
If we're looking a year out from now.
I want to know why would somebody invest in gold that could maybe go up 10% when Bitcoin could go up like you could have Bitcoin be 100,000. I don't think anybody'd be surprised at this point. Yeah,
well, there's still a lot of people out there who don't believe in Bitcoin. They still see it as magic internet money. They don't grasp the concept yet, and a lot of them, are older folks that have been in gold for years and years, and so it's their bread and butter. It's what they do. We can think Peter Schiff, right? I think it'll be funny one day if we find out he's been hoarding Bitcoin for years, but until that time, he talks the big game about gold and, how Bitcoin's going to go to zero and whatever. And then, so there are people still out there like that. I think, as somebody who's in the markets, who's been in the markets for 30 years, to me, fine. If you want to do some gold, do some gold. But man, if you're going to absolutely 100% pass up the opportunity for Bitcoin, you're going to be the one kicking yourself in the rear end. I don't see any other way around it.
Has anybody here ever met anybody that got really, really rich off of gold?
No.
I've never, ever, 60 years, I've never met anybody. I said, hey, how'd you create all your money? Oh, I invested in gold. I've never met that guy.
Yeah.
I own a business. I took a company public. I invested a bunch of money in real estate, blah, blah, blah. They came up with something, but nobody ever said, I bought gold and silver and sat on it, hoarded it, and watched it fucking do nothing for 20 years.
Yeah.
Except I had to pay storage fees on it. I've never, ever heard this conversation.
And see, and that's important what you brought up there. You know, it's you not only do you have to sit there and it doesn't really do anything, right? I guess you can argue maybe it it protects you against some inflation or whatever, but you know, you got to pay storage costs. If you want to move it,
What a child.
how expensive is it to move the damn thing? I mean, it's when you
It's the
look
most
at
immature billionaire I've ever met in my life. Okay. Fucking immature billionaire acting like a child.
Is that a
Sorry,
fig?
gentlemen.
I think he's eating figs. He's
It's
eating
a date,
figs. Figs are
it's a
good.
date.
Oh, a date.
It's a good old Middle
Dates,
East.
man, dates.
He just came back from the Middle East, so he's smashing down the dates. Jesus. Okay, let's move to oil and silver. Silver. I told my
I've got
silver guy
here.
to sell at 33 so I could net 32.50 out.
You told him
did
to sell
you
at 33.
sell?
Did he sell at 33?
No, I haven't sold yet. I haven't hit that number, but I will. I mean, it's going to hit 33. I got buddies of mine. Think it goes to 40 or 50, man.
Well,
And
it
that
hit 33
slashes
already.
there. Yeah,
It hit 33.
this morning.
Yeah, back on Friday.
Oh, well, maybe I got out. I'll have
Maybe
to
you
find out.
didn't know it. Yeah, we had a quick thrust up and a pullback on that. So, but yeah, I mean, silver overall, I mean, I've got like a $48 target on that overall. So, you know, kind of like gold, to me, it looks like it's still got, you know, some pretty good upside. You know, of course, we know that silver's been lagging behind gold for the longest time, right? But ultimately, let me kind of zoom out here a little bit to that daily. I mean, look at where we're at here. We're right here ready to break out through this resistance we've had since 2020. So we're just kind of pushed out there. We may pull back a little bit first and then break out, but we should take off, you know, outside of that and just kind of continue heading on up.
It's all 50
so, I mean,
back. It's all 50 like forever ago, right?
Yeah, back over, think about 2011. Yeah, when gold had that last all-time high before it finally started breaking out, you know, a few years back. But yeah, I mean, you know, locally here, we should be getting ready to break out sooner rather than later. And that just kind of gets us on the rally up toward that, you know, toward that all-time high. You know, so we'll see how it plays out overall. But, you know, I think we should at least be probably headed up there at some point. Now, is that a better return than what you're going to get in Bitcoin in the same period of time? No, not at all. Bitcoin's going to kill it. You know, it's going to crush it with the return that you're going to get, just like gold, right? And you don't have to sit there and pay for something to hold, you know, to store it somewhere, and you don't have to.
What is that? What is that I'm
know,
looking at right there? Is that silver or gold?
Silver.
That's silver.
Yeah, I mean, if you were invested in real estate since 2011, first of all, you'd have been stealing the real estate. You'd have earned passive income. You know, you're paid to store it. The rents would have fucking gone up $800 in that period of time. $1,000 rents, $1,800 now. The value of the property would have gone up, I don't know, probably twice. And you got to write the thing off when you bought it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to make, you know, these days it really is hard to make the argument for gold or silver. I mean, it really is, unless you're just, you know, old time, been in the markets, you know, believing the nonsense about gold and silver for all these stuff. I personally see gold and silver as tradable assets. I don't see them as something out there to protect you against something or other. And that when I say that, you know, I often get a lot of flack on that, but you know, historically, that's the best that I've seen them for. They're tradable assets. You make some money trading them, and then you know you know what we always talk about, you know, with Gary. Is that you go out there and you find a way to make more money to invest. And so whether that's in the stock market or in crypto, Bitcoin, or in real estate or whatever it happens to be. I think too many people get in there. They think, okay, well, I'm going to put a couple of bucks into something and that's going to just set me free in the next week. And the reality of it is, figure out what your plan is long-term. Make sure you got a plan, and then get out there and figure out, how do I make more money to keep investing in it to get me where I want to get, and even quicker. And that's no different, when we're in the markets here. Too many people, they come in, they're like, oh my God, I've got $200 and I need to turn it into, $20,000 next week. Well, what happens then is you end up losing the money.
Can you show the 10-year Treasury and explain to me why? I think I know the answer. Why interest rates? Why he cut a half a point, and that the 10-year Treasury was at 3.67. It's now at 4. It breached 4 this morning. It went the other way.
Okay. Yeah. You talk about yields.
Yeah.
Let me see if I've got it pulled up here already. I can just pull it onto this.
Give me like the last even 30 days. Might be better.
All right, let me do this. Oh, let me pull it right there. We go. Come on. So here's the 10-year right here. This is the daily chart. I'll pull it over there a little bit more. Yeah, so there we got it right there, 4.029 on the 10-year.
Yeah, but that's what, a day? Why don't you give me like the last 30 days?
Well, these are all days here. So last 30 days, each candle here is a day. So
really?
The 7th. So where we talk about right about, yeah. So right about from 30 days to get you about that right there. So we kind of had a little bit of a dip down, and then we've rallied up here.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. So just this
the
kind of part
Fed
right here,
cut.
30
The Fed
days.
cut what, on the 15th?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, right.
Right in
And
that
then
area.
this thing just went the other way.
Yeah.
So why is that? Does that just mean there's no demand internationally for the 10-year?
No. There's demand. I mean, for me, I trade charts.
Why is it going the opposite way if there's demand? It should be going lower.
Yeah. So, well, you would think so, right? But here's the thing: when we're looking at, and this is why I trade charts more than I trade fundamentals or news or whatever, because often what we say is okay, well, things should do this because it makes sense, right? But what happens is it does the opposite. And then we have to go in and figure out, okay, well, we have to make excuses for why it did the opposite. And oftentimes it's just, more of a temporary thing when it happens. So, if I look at this right here, and I sit here, I go, okay, well, I look at this and I pull this up. And I could say, okay, yeah, I mean, that's almost a 1-to-1 ratio. This to me screams corrective, and we're going to head up higher there. So it comes down to, well, when you look and you go, well, if the dollar goes up, then the stock market should go down. That's what a lot of people say, because if the DXY goes up, the dollar's getting stronger. It makes you, if people are putting money into the dollar versus putting it into riskier assets. And so that's kind of like the common knowledge that everybody kind of says. But the reality is, if you look back through history, there's a significant amount of time where the dollar and stocks actually move in the same direction at the same time. And so, we often get this when we're looking at whether it's bonds, whether it's the dollar, whether it's stocks, whether it's crypto and whatnot, is we get a lot of this. And, we've seen changes. So when we hit the 90s, we had bonds and equities doing one thing. And after the 90s, we see them doing another now in terms of correlation and whatnot. And so I think a lot of what we expect, I think is just too simple. We kind of say it too simply. And then, when it doesn't happen,
if we had demand for the 10-year Treasury, wouldn't the rate offered by the 10-year Treasury be going down? To me, if the 10-year's having to pay out for, it was 3.6. So no, there was no buyers at 3.6.
Graham,
so
maybe
3.7.
Maybe the market is saying, hey, we're not going to loan money in the hard money market at the rate that you think you're trying to control it.
Yeah.
And so the market's basically going, hey, you can try to keep these rates down, but we're not going to loan money out. I'm not loaning money out at 3%, 4%.
At
right?
least not at
Nor
the
will
moment.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, what's Sofer right now? Sofer's 2.5.
No. Yeah, let's see here. Sofer's probably at 5. Chattel.
I wouldn't have thought Sofer would be that high. But nonetheless, isn't that what the market's telling you? Hey, Fed, you can drop the short-term rate all you want, but we're not going to loan 10-year money out at 2.5, 3, 4, 5%.
At the moment, yeah, that's what they're saying. Now that could change, in a week. With the type of move we're seeing at the moment here, this could just be a reactionary move off that low, and then it just kind of continues lower. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not what does the Fed say, it's what does the market say, right? The Fed's always playing catch up. The Fed is going to try and tell us that it has control, but really the Fed is nothing more than the cleanup hitter, right? They come in and they just kind of react rather than act proactively to what's going on. And so, if the Fed does one thing and the market, reacts it differently than we would expect, often we're going to have to see the Fed chasing with what the market's doing, with what the market's expecting, as far as what they're doing there. So yeah.
Grant, you got any other questions?
No. Yeah. Sofer's at 4.8 today, Gary.
4.8, yeah.
Long-term average was 2.27, so it's double the long-term average. And Sofer's what all the commercial real estate's borrowed against. So typically, it's going to be another 2 to 3 points over Sofer.
Yep.
So commercial money today would be 7.8. Like I'm just telling you, you're gonna lose $2 trillion worth of real estate. That needs to be, if the interest rate's 7.8, almost every construction project in America can't be funded, can't be refinanced. It will never ever be a viable project. You got an event bigger than the 2008 housing crisis.
The event we're going through right now.
You would have an event
on commercial,
but nobody's talking about it, by the way. We're just talking about Hamas, Lebanon, what's her name?
Anything that has nothing to do with the U.S. We talk about it.
Kamala doing her 12 interviews this week, which is a good sign, by the way, if you're a Republican. This is a great sign she's coming out, because they're going to risk it for the biscuit now. They know they're behind.
They have to, bro.
They have to. And she's going to fuck up, dude, because you can't be this incompetent and actually hide it. It doesn't matter how friendly the audience is. By the way, the more friendly it is, the more comfortable she'll get. And Gary can tell you, the more comfortable you get, the more mistakes you make. I was at a black party once, a party that was all black. I was the only white guy there, and I was starting to get really comfortable. And a guy came up to me and said, "Don't get too comfortable, bro."
Yeah, you might be eating too many of those dates, bro. You know, you can overdose on dates, right?
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, you should look at it. It's a phenomenal. It's it's a weird thing, but only 3% of the entire population of Italians get it, so you'll be okay. Hey, let's switch to. Are we done with the market here? I think Sam's buying Bitcoin. I suspect Grant's buying Bitcoin on the low down. He just doesn't want to tell anybody he didn't get it at 55 or 45 or 35 or 15.
He'll mention in a year how much he's made, and then he'll be like, "Look, that was smart."
He'll be like, everybody will have forgotten it. Oh wow, Grant Cardone is a Bitcoin god. Let's talk about Milton. Grant, are you leaving?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't think I'm leaving either. I had a plane scheduled to take me to Connecticut tomorrow, and I had to cancel that because I couldn't leave the kids. And now I'm looking at it going, man, I just took a trip down the beach, Sam, like 1 mile from me.
Yeah.
Fucked up. That's the first time I've been able to get there.
Gary, I don't know why you wouldn't leave though, bro.
Well,
the kids were going to go into Tampa, and I said, "Nah, we're not going, guys."
Oh yeah,
So
no,
I canceled my event here. We had an event Wednesday and Thursday. I had 1,000 people coming to town. I said, do not come.
Yeah.
And I mean, canceling 1,000 people and a dozen speakers is painful.
Yeah. No, what I think, look, I just went through this. I got no water, and I would need another 5 feet of water to even start creating problems. I don't see how that's possible. Plus, my whole house just shuts down. Oh, well, the city, I'm on the barrier island. See, that's the problem. And Sam, Sam's got a buddy in the military. And he's like, hey, the storm's probably not the issue. It's probably the access to the properties. Cause you have, we're on a peninsula at the end of the day. I'm on an island, and the island's connected to a peninsula. Tampa will have lots of issues if this doesn't go south or seriously north. I mean, ideally it would go to you.
Guys, throw in the chat, should Gary leave, and put a big L? And L is not for losers, for leaver.
Yeah. No, I've already gotten, everybody thinks I should leave, but I will tell you that the house shuts down so well, I'm scared about getting back in. That's the problem. It's like, hey, how do you get back in if everything's torn up? My point is, 5 days later, 6 days, 7 days later, I literally just went on the beach. There are no restaurants. Half the hotels are done. There's hardly anything open. What's up, sis?
How are you doing?
Good. Doing good. We got about 1,000 people watching you. So
Hey,
welcome.
everyone.
Good morning. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna leave, but Sam, what are you thinking?
I'm probably going to leave. I mean, it just got upgraded to a category 5, and just really the reason I'm going to leave is I got 3 pregnant sisters who need my help. And so I got to go back home and just probably make sure that they can move all their stuff before it hits. They weren't asking me before, but once it hit a Cat 5, they're like, hey, Sam, actually, yeah, can you come home? So yeah, I'm probably going to go in Lakeland. So it's more inland, so it's safer. But it's still, this whole thing's just going to go straight through I-4. Otherwise, I'm kind of similar. Like, I don't want to leave. I'm not in a flood zone. I'd rather just be in my own place. But it is what it is.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, the destruction.
It's the most bizarre storm I've ever seen, Gary. I posted on X that I've never seen a storm growing up in the Gulf the way we did. I've never seen a storm start so far West Mexico or East Mexico and come straight east. I've never seen that. Now, other people showed me a bunch of links where there's been 40 storms that have followed this same path. I've never seen that. I don't
know 40 storms, bro. One or two.
Yeah, I only saw that there's only been
1850s.
1 or 2. Yeah, I wonder where they got that 40 number, because it never.
They gave me all these names of the storms. I'm like, okay, maybe so, but I mean, most of what I post on X is I've done minute research on. Most of it is definitely not researched or facts like Chris. I don't have any graphs. I just have, this is what I think today.
Well,
Get that engagement.
I don't even research the links I share. So,
well, it helps. So if you've lived down here your whole life, you do get comfortable with, the size of these storms. I mean, Diane, my Grant and I's sister, last night was like, man, you guys getting hit again. I'm like, I've seen Louisiana get hit 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but not yet, but I've got to make a decision here pretty quick or I won't be able to get out.
you ought to get out of there, dude.
They're going to start shutting. Huh?
You got a chance to get out. You ought to get out.
Yeah.
What are you staying for, dude? All the grocery stores are going to be shut down.
I just told you. See, getting back into the issues because I'm really, really well prepared. Like I never freak out. I have so much water.
Gary just wants to post those weatherman videos for us again all night long.
I'm trying to get my account, bumped up. Sam's like, bro, this gets you some followers.
They're good videos.
They were entertaining, that's for sure. It is crazy because y'all are getting these huge storms coming through there. And, we had Beryl come through here through Houston earlier this year, barely a Cat 1 and took us down for like 3 weeks. I mean, absolutely stupid. 2 to 3 million people without electricity for a week and a week and more, and just I can't even imagine if one of those that you guys have coming through, the one that just went through, or this one coming through, come through us, what that would have done.
I'm in Miami. I'm on the other side, so it's got to cross the Everglades and come here. And I'm still like, it'd probably be smart for us to leave, because once you get caught in one of these, there's no payday in them.
We got an awesome governor. I mean, I saw on my way here, I was telling Gary, and I've never seen this before. There is not a motorcade, but whatever you call, there were cop cars blocking the streets. And then I just saw like 30 dump trucks just running because they're trying to clean all the debris from the previous hurricane. Because that's the big issue, is you have everyone's debris from the previous hurricane just out on the street. And we're about to get hit by like 160-mile-per-hour winds. And so DeSantis was like, every executive order under like anything that he could do. So now cops are literally guiding construction crews, just zip back and forth. The hurricane they had on the East Coast, they had entire roads washed away that DeSantis built back up in 2 days. Right. So
yeah, he's a beast, man.
The one nice thing about Florida is, like, if you're governor here, you're inundated with hurricane prep. And DeSantis has been very good as far as that goes. So,
Sam, on that, going into the beach today, I saw those. I started laughing. I'm like, oh, that's what he was talking about. But they were, I probably saw 30 full-on dirt, the holders. They're literally just half of them full, half of them empty, one going one way, one going the other. So that's, and he said, look, I've pulled out all the stops. We have to get rid of all this debris. It's going to create another problem. And he said the same thing. The issues are the roads, right? Hey, if the roads get washed out, that's a problem. But we're more prepared than we were for that last storm, I think. So the state's doing a lot, and that's really good. I can't imagine being in North Carolina right now, where their governor seems to do nothing.
Yeah.
I've never known DeSantis, but like his command of this operation is pretty impressive. Guys, we have anything else to talk about? Grant, you want to talk about anything on real estate that's hitting you in the face right now, or
that last storm 2 days before the events? I mean, we get FaceTime by every property, so we are very, very what's the word? Not reactive, proactive. And not only do they do the right things there and removing everything loose, then we get a FaceTime at the properties. I'm like, hey guys, pick up that y'all missed this. And like anything can become a flying object that can cause problems. One property, we didn't know this. It wasn't a storm coming in, but it was a fluke rain here in Fort Lauderdale. It dropped like 18 inches in 4 hours or something. We had one of our drains on the pool at the 5th floor covered. They had put artificial turf on that level, and they forgot to cut holes for the drains. We had just bought the property. It was no problem, right? And then fucking 18 inches of water hit it. We end up with 4 floors completely, no exterior water coming in. This could have been completely prevented, yeah. But somebody forgot to cut it. We didn't know to look for it. I mean, it was just, so, the weird stuff can happen to you in a storm that you don't know about. But the thing is, and I've met with a bunch of insurance companies, because we met with Lloyd's and everybody, like, how do we make sure, guys, that we reduce your risk in insuring us? And they came up with a whole list before we went to the meeting of things that we could do. So guess what we were doing by the time we got to that meeting? And we've been doing that for 20 years as an entrepreneurial outfit. Our insurance losses to insurance companies is about 75% of the institutions. That we can document. They document it.
You're saying less than what the institutions.
Yeah, because we pay attention to we don't just say, hey, make sure everything's up.
Yeah.
Because a tenant will leave her bicycle out on the deck, kids' toys. The next thing you know, you got flying missiles.
Okay, so nothing really on real estate. Is this going to impact pricing, you think, in multi-dwelling?
100%, because just think about all the renters that are being made every one of these cycles. Already got a housing shortage. So you displace a home. What are they going to do? They're going to become renters.
Yeah.
Their mortgage is due. Their damage is due. They're going to be out of housing for 9 months, maybe 15 months, if they ever rebuild. Number two thing you got homeowners up and down this coast that are going to get tired of homeowning.
Yep.
They're going to be like, I'm done. This is not a fucking dream. I don't like this. I don't want to keep cleaning up. It becomes exhausting.
Hey, dude, I was up at 7:00 this morning, moving boats. At 7:30, my wharf has a fire. Okay, because all the power got fucked up underwater. My boat's on a lift. A boat that I would love to get rid of, like fucking, I'd almost give it away at this point. It doesn't have but 100 miles on it, 100 hours max. You and I are horrible with boats. If I get in a boat, I'm probably going to sink it. And if I don't sink it, the motherfucker's going to rust really fast and it's going to electrocute me. I mean, it's amazing what these boats do to me. But I'm literally out 7:30 this morning, man, like going, home ownership is awesome. I'm running around pulling shit in, all those bougainvillea plants. Sam was kind enough and strong enough to go, dude, I can handle those. You're too fucking old. You're going to break your back and then blame me for it. But home ownership's a pain in the ass, dude. It's expensive, right? That's all I've been doing this morning for 3 hours. So it's, I don't know. It's, I don't know. I think insurance is going to be a big issue here, dude. How do you price in insurance buying apartment dwellings or homes in the future? Any kind of real estate.
The people that are going to get the people that it'll be affordable for is the institutions only, because they have umbrellas they can spread across 15 or 20,000
Yeah,
units.
that's right.
But anybody that owns one unit, bro, they're just not going to insure you.
Right.
They're like, to get $18,000 or $5,700 from you for the next 3 or 4 years, we lose you one. It's over. Like there was no return on it, and they could have lost 400 homes. So it's just showing you the inflation's effect, the natural inflation, not a super inflation, but the inflation on concrete, steel, windows, regulations, building something. Construction people, we have a desirable housing shortage in this country.
Yeah,
both
that's right.
Desirable and affordable.
Yeah.
It's a double whammo. In Tampa, there's no desirable housing in Tampa. Most of it's old, built 1950s, 70s, low roofs. Yeah, that's a great location, but nobody wants a house because it's old cabinets, old refrigerators, old
It's old everything.
Old lighting, yeah.
Okay, well, guys, we're not going to sit here. We're not going to sit here and watch my brother eat. So we're going to remove his little rich ass from the stage right now. Watch this. I love doing that. Wow.
The power.
We ejected that little bitch from the room. He taught me that. He taught me that on X, bro. He said, hey, let me show you how to really get engagement. And he'd say, Gary, tell me about Bitcoin. I'd start going on about Bitcoin. He would just end the room. And then he would call me up and go, that was funny, wasn't it? And I was like, hey, dude, don't ever do that to me again. You know what's going to happen? If you do that to me again, I'm going to start doing it to you, and there will be no end to it. And sure enough, he does it to me again. I don't think he's been on a space with me lately, if you notice, because I just whacked the son of a bitch. And I just did it to him here. So this is what we call banging the old terminal hard on each other. Hey, Chris, thank you so much. I don't know if Bitcoin's done anything since we've been talking, but appreciate your input. Sam, I think we're at 63.8 right now, 63.864. So
Good
it's had
time
a
to
little
buy.
bit of a move since
Trying
we've
to
been
push higher.
talking.
Yep.
Sam, sounds like you made a decision, huh?
Yeah. Yep. Buy time.
Buy time. I like hearing that, dude. It's going to be so cool in 5 to 8 years. Look at you. You'll be walking around going, wow, I'm fucking long Bitcoin, son. It's going to be gracious. Guys, thank you very much. We will be on a live space tonight. Sam, I don't know what our topic is, but that's at 5 p.m. I'd love to have everybody join us. And last thing I have to say is you guys go out, do something really, really, really nice for somebody today and take no credit or acknowledgement for it. That will be an awesome life hack for you. Anybody else have anything to close on?
Buy Bitcoin.
Buy
There you
Bitcoin.
go.
That's
Buy
an
Bitcoin.
awesome one. Thank you guys. Have a great day
Appreciate
and
it.
be kind to the world. Thank you very much.
Take care.